The term AI is often misunderstood, and when people use the term AI, they mainly refer to machine learning. AI is an umbrella term for everything that has to do with the automation of thought. Under this definition, a calculator is considered as AI, and so is Microsoft Excel. Let us take a look at what we came to know as traditional computing. Assume that we have developed a software that accepts an input, multiplies that input by 2, and shows the output on the screen. An input of 2 will generate an output of 4, and so on. In a machine learning problem, the inputs and outputs are given, and the machine needs to figure out what the relation is between them. The process of looking at input-output examples and figuring out what the relationship is between them is called training. The relationship between inputs and outputs is called the model. In the example, the model is output equals input times 2. Let us tackle our first machine learning problem. Our challenge is to find the relation between inputs and outputs. Looking at input-output examples, we conclude that the solution to this problem is output equals input times 2 plus 2. Once we found the model, we should be able to predict the output for a new input, an input that was not part of the original training samples. We call this input an unseen input. Assume that we present an unseen input of 10 to the machine. Applying our model to the unseen input, we produce an output of 10 times 2 plus 2 equals 22. Congratulations! You just solved your first machine learning problem. What we did was, first we looked at input-output pairs, the training data, and figured out what the relationship is between them. The relationship we called the model. The second thing we did was to assess the ability of the model to predict an output for an unseen input. This is called the generalization capability of the model. It is the generalization feature that embodies the predictive power of AI. In deep learning, the machine learns the relation between inputs and outputs in several stages. Deep learning architectures are inspired by the biological process of the human brain and are referred to as neural networks. The idea of deep learning has been around since the 1970s, but a new deep learning revolution started about 10 years ago, fueled by the development of new and powerful hardware.